Recently I went to the 100-year celebration of my old high school in Western Australia. It's not that I'm nostalgic about that sort of thing, but I was curious to meet up with some of my Year 12 mates, as well as look at some of the old sporting, music and academic memorabilia. Unlike many of the old boys, I hadn't really kept in touch, despite having made some really great mates during those last few years at high school. As usual at these events, we were all keen to hear what each other were doing or had done over the past 40 years or so. Some went farming, many were successful professionals in law and medicine, 4 had entered state politics, a number had become successful academics nationally and internationally. A few had shared on the world stage as successful CEOs of well-known international corporations, and many prospered in their own businesses. One found himself on the wrong side of the law for 10 years in an overseas prison, but had since rebuilt his life amazingly successfully. What a fascinating story that was, and I can't share it with you here. I was sad to hear how many had passed away or even dropped out of life. On my flight back to Brisbane, I got pondering about the conversations I'd had. All were about doing or what we had accomplished. Without wanting to sound pedantic, I wondered if this was the right question. What we want to do may not be as important as who we want to be. Of course, when we're younger and going through our journey of ascent, usually to our mid-30s or so, we like to push and extend ourselves to achieve our goals. We want to see how far we can go in our chosen careers and vocational life. That's a normal part of the egoic journey. But we reach a point, as did May in the story I shared with you in my previous video, dot or dash. She achieved it all, but experienced an emptiness and lack of fulfillment with her life. As we have seen with many people, it's possible to do much, but be zilch as a person. Now that's pretty strong, I know. But of course, being and doing are not mutually exclusive. We will all know people who have achieved a lot and been people we highly regard and respect because of who they are. Now, doing is associated more with our vocation, career or business, on how we make a living. It's to do with our accomplishments and achievements, things such as salary, positions attained, involvements, prestige, power, possessions, trophies and other tangible activities. Now, being, on the other hand, is more about our character than our charisma, on how we make a life. It's more to do with intangibles, of who we are, regardless of what we do. It comes from the heart and a place of shared interests. Being generous, being loving, being thoughtful, being at peace, being supportive, being considerate, being sincere and authentic, being thankful and being patient, being kind, being diligent, being on purpose, regardless of what you do, is what we need to give thought to. Don't get me wrong, achieving accomplishments, goal setting, career aspirations and business results are important as we strive to make a living. So it is helpful to ask, what do I want to do? But lasting fulfillment, meaning and happiness come more from our being than our doing. After all, we are human beings and not human doings. So whether you are in the workplace, in your home or the community, ask yourself the questions, not just what do I want to be, but also who do I want to be? A far more profound question. Listen deep within you, to your heart and your stomach, the place where purpose and values reside. Remember, when you respond to the world from and with your 2-word purpose statement, you are invited to be those 2 words. True treasures will emerge. Which one is calling you to be, regardless of what you are doing? It may be painful or joyful. Being forgiving, loving, patient may be very difficult. It may not happen overnight, but that's the difference between being and doing. One can be written in a yearbook or discussed at an anniversary. The other on full display for eternity in a life book.